Hey, Sneaker Fiends. Quick disclaimer about this interview you're getting ready to watch here. So, this is the first Expo interview of many other Expo interviews to come. And as we know, creativity does not come without trial and error. The point that I'm getting at is that I accidentally muted the first 20 minutes or so of this 50-minute long interview. I tried out some new recording software. It did not work out in my favor. So just to kind of speed everybody up on things, what we ultimately missed were their introductions and their origin stories. Josh Chesler goes on to explain his introduction to the world of sneakers through the customization game, and Azeem Khan of the Aglet app explains his introduction to the sneaker game through the world of technology and how he's bridging the gap between the two. So I will drop their social media links below for their personal profiles as well as their business profiles, so you can just get up to date with them and just see everything that they've been doing and contributing to the sneaker game, because trust me, it's a lot. With this in mind, please enjoy.
So like I said, back then, when they were done, I was like, yo, these are hot, these are crazy. But like I said, a lot of people were like, yo, like, you're kind of overusing that. And back then I was like, well, I don't know. I think this is fire, but, and I don't know if that was just cause it was my artwork or what. But now I just realized that, that's stuff that I kind of overused and whatnot. But back then I was really learning and had all the basics and whatnot.
Nice. So where did you get your inspiration from? Like, what was it about the splatter paint? Was it just like an easy thing to do, or was it like something that was really eye catching? Like when you shop for sneakers, you look for splatter paint.
It was just something that I just randomly like decided. I think it was I can't remember. It might have been some red 11s I did. And I wanted to paint the midsoles, but I knew if I just painted, the midsoles with just Angelus paint and not like with the stuff I have now, because now, the stuff will last. But back then, I just had Angelus leather paint, and I knew if I just painted, it just straight with Angelus paint that it wouldn't last. So I wanted to do something. And I was like, you know what? I can just kind of flick a little bit of paint on here. And, but yeah.
Nice. I see. Yeah, it's funny. Back in the day, I was a really big splatter paint guy. But if you've ever seen like the Dave White Jordan 1s, they have like a big color blast that starts at the front of the foot and it kind of pulls up the back. And I was like, yo, man, like people started doing these type of customs because I think those came out like 2012. But people kind of slept on them because that was like Galaxy everything, Big Bang LeBron's, Black History Month releases, February is just a rough time to release sneakers if you aren't with Nike. But I was like, yo, people start doing color blast stuff, like, I'm on it. You know what I mean?
100%.
Absolutely crazy, man. So let me ask you both this, like, what do you guys look for in sneakers when you are, shopping, or when, you're looking to, collect, you're looking to put something on display? Like, what is it that you look for? Is there like a design thing? Is there a comfort thing? Like, what is factored in?
Honestly, when I buy shoes, to me, it's all about look, but comfort. But me, obviously, I want to. If I'm not customizing it, I want it to be different. And that's one of the reasons why I got into customizing. I want it to be different. So sometimes I'll see shoes at Foot Locker or something that'll sit because people think these are weird, and I'm like, yo, in my opinion, these are dope. I'm all about the bright colors and stuff that like I said, is just different. But definitely for me is look and comfort for sure.
Nice. What about you, Azim?
I'd have to say, honestly, very similar. It's definitely like look and comfort. I was wearing New Balances when everyone was making fun of me for wearing New Balances, just because I was like, guys, like these are beyond comfortable, and it was like 997s and 998s, and just like nice colorways, but I've never honestly gone with what everyone else is getting. Like, when I see what the hype is, I'm always like, I guess they're cool, but that's not what I go for. I just pick whatever sort of suits my eye.
Yeah.
The weird thing about hype is once people have hyped it up, now when you come across that pair, that movie, that whatever, that people have just been talking about, your expectations are set so high. And I remember, in high school, I was, people were hyping up like Concord 11s. Now, granted, I still bought like a lot of those sneakers that I probably wish I wouldn't have had, only because like it was a part of the culture. You know, you get kind of wrapped up in the hype. And you know, you're
Yeah.
working at a shoe store, and these shoes are always next to you. Like I got the new releases next to me. Like all right, I'm gonna cop it. You know, I'm just gonna do it because I'm tired of looking at them. But I ended up buying like a lot of pennies. You know, 2010, 11. You know, I bought a lot of phone posits. I bought a lot of that
Yeah.
type of stuff, and I was like, you know, man, I love a lot of these Jordan releases, but first and foremost, I have to work. You know, and these sneakers are not comfortable to work in. Like, you know, maybe back in the day, Air Jordan 11s and 3s, you know, the technology helped suit the foot a little bit better. But the
Yeah.
2011 retros were not it. And so I'm, you know, heavily rocking pennies, you know, the foam posits molding to my foot. I'm rocking Air Maxes. I'm rocking all types of stuff because I got to be honest. Like, I worked in Hall of Fame Jordan 1s. I've worked in 2s and 3s. And when I think back on that, I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? That was the stupidest decision ever, man. Like, I should not have got wrapped up in the hype.
Yeah.
But those are still pairs I wish I had. Like, do you guys have any pairs that, like, you had and, like, maybe you outgrew or that you sold and you're like, oh, damn, I probably shouldn't have done that?
Ooh. Um. Yeah. What's crazy is when I messed up my ankle my sophomore year and I had those Air Maxes. Actually, just the other day I was trying to look on Google for the name and the year because I wanted to buy a pair, and it was such a simple Air Max, but I just can't remember. Um. But I also remember having a pair of Flyknits that were just amazing, so light, and so breathable with the foot and whatnot. So those are definitely some of my pairs that I just wish I could a cop again. I love Rock and Boost. I wish they're a little bit cheaper, but just pairs like that. Just wish I could keep in the collection for rotation.
Yeah, that Flyknit wave was crazy when it came out. Like,
Facts.
you know, it hit the ground, and it really like kind of split the sneaker game too. Because you know when the Flyknits hit, that's when fashion really took another turn, and so you got like the jogger craze. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you got just like that, all those crazes. You know, and if for some reason it kind of split the sneaker game. Like you had the guys who were like diehard Jordan collectors, you know, who weren't really so much into like the whole, you know, the outfit and the whole everything that comes with the fly knits. And then
Yep.
you had the fly knit guys that were like, yo, we dress from the feet up or we dress from the top down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. What about you, Azim? You got anything that you regret selling or that you wish you could go back and get?
Uh, there was honestly, I spent so much time in Boston, and Concepts was over there, and they used to do releases of like different New Balances in particular that I look back and I'm like, damn, you, I could have easily gotten those. And then a pair that I had that I beat to hell and threw away were the Heineken Dunks. I remember
Oh
that.
no!
Oh.
Oh no!
Yeah, I had those. I beat them to hell. That's the one. And then just for being able to cop, like it was just Concepts was so close by, and this was at a time when like things weren't nearly as crazy, and so all of the cool stuff that I see on StockX for crazy money is stuff that I used to like see and be like, "Ah, I don't feel like going over to Harvard today because it's right by Harvard Square," and I was just like, nah, I don't feel like going over there, and just missing out on stuff that I look back and I'm like, man, I really like those, like the JFK 997s, I think, like things like that, I'd say.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yo.
Absolutely wild.
To actually add on to what I was saying, I remember selling a pair of Cheech and Chong Dunks to Alex. And I regret it so much because they were so clean. I mean, they were just starting to yellow, but they were clean. And then I also had a pair of Krampus Dunks because that's when I was in the SBs, and just that fur on the shoes and the insoles were just so different. And I outgrew them a little bit because that's when my foot started growing. But I just had to sell them, and I just regret it because that fur was going crazy for me.
Yeah, Krampus were definitely that was some premium shit. Like let's just call it for what
Yeah,
it is. And you
no
said you sold them
doubt.
to Alex. You talking about my roommate Alex? Like Alex?
Yeah,
Alex?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh
Crazy.
man, I'm gonna have to tell him that you missed those sorely. I'm gonna let him know. You know, I got a couple pairs that I really regret getting rid of, but you know, I mentioned earlier like being nostalgic. So what I've really been on the hunt for right now are shoes that I wish I could have had. That I'm actually kind of happy I didn't buy them or that I wasn't old enough to buy them back in the day because my foot would have definitely outgrew them. But I've been like, I bought a pair of ice creams. I was
Uh,
yeah Reebok ice cream. So like not like ice cream with Pharrell, but still, it's still with Pharrell, but just with the Reebok because I'm not spending,
Yeah.
billionaire boys club money. But I went back and bought some of the old pairs, and I'm just like, man, when I bought that, I got hit with a wave. I'm like, okay, I got this. What else did I get? What else do I get? So like now I'm looking up S. Carter's, and I'm looking up.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
looking up S.
God.
Carter's, and I'm looking up, G Unit sneakers, because that's when like Reebok just really hit the ground running, and I'm looking up
Yeah.
like all types of stuff, and all of it, like luckily enough for me, because I have like a Sasquatch sized foot, a lot of that shit just sits, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot of that just kind of sits on eBay. Like that's one of the benefits of, wearing like size 13 to 14 is like, guys will buy a couple pairs or they'll buy weird stuff back in the day and they're like, yeah, these are going to definitely sell. And I'm like, no, they would have sold had you got a 10 and a half or 11. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
actually think statistically, the amount of Bigfoot fellows that are looking for ice cream sneakers on the planet, like, there's very few of us. So, you
Yeah.
might as well let me get those for the low. Let me cop those
Yeah.
off you for 80. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, it works. It works.
Yeah.
So what is your guys' most like important purchase? Like what's the one or two pairs in your guys' collection that you're like, wow, like I can't believe I have these.
Ooh.
I don't have any of those anymore, man. I like, I guess like going backwards, there's shoes like, I remember when the Tiffany Dunks came out, I wish I'd gotten those kind of a thing. But I remember just being like, man, like this is just too, like I've appreciated them, but haven't really like, and it's basic stuff. Like it was like, I don't know, like I like bread fours, I like cement threes, the Olympic sevens, stuff like that, but none of the, like crazy stuff.
I see. Yeah, I'm with you on black cement threes and like bread fours and just I feel like there's certain sneakers in the game that are like kind of just staple pieces. Like they're not
Yes.
Yeah.
like there. Of course, there's a billion like there's slam dunk threes, there's Dornbecher, there's both versions of the Dornbecher, Jordan threes. I mean, I know I'm just spewing the ones that come off the top of the head. Of course, there's the Dornbecher fours, the M&M fours. There's all sorts of
Yep.
stuff, but there's just certain pairs that are just like, this is just a staple. Like black and red fours, staple. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like black and red 11s, whether they're countdowns or they're 2012s, whatever year you got, like staples. They're just some
Yeah.
pairs you just cannot remove, or that if you do remove them, you feel like damn, like this is that pair that started all these other retro colorways. I kind of
Yeah.
I kind of need that.
Yeah.
What about you,
sure.
Josh?
Man, so I'd say, man, I personally my LeBron 10s. I think they're the away colorways. I'm not too sure. They're just all black and red. But the thing is I love LeBron 10s. Like they're my favorite LeBron model. They're comfy. I think they will look really nice on feet. So that's probably one of those purchases. And I don't, like I said, I don't know what it is about the LeBron 10s. And actually, one of the shoes that I do regret selling is the LeBron 10 Prisms. In my opinion, those are one of my top 5 shoes of all time. Just the colorway, like I said, just the way it looks and feels. Definitely though.
Wow, LeBron 10s. It's crazy. So like, I feel like age wise, we're all about in the same category. Like I guess we're all technically millennials to some degree, but
Yeah.
Yep.
on which end we factor and we fall kind of plays into effect in our sneaker purchases. Like you're telling me like LeBron 10s, and I was like, yo, I remember when the first ones dropped. Like
Yeah.
I was like in like the
Facts.
fourth grade. Like they were the Zoom generations, is what they were, weren't they? Wasn't that the first LeBron? I want to say I don't even think it was a LeBron.
I can't remember.
I think it was a Zoom generation. I just remember thinking like, yo, this guy came into the league and he has a shoe already. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has shoes in like the late '90s, early 2000s, but I was like, this kid from Ohio has a sneaker already. Like, this is kind of wild. So when you tell me like LeBron 10 is your favorite shoe, I'm thinking like, yo, there's a sizable age gap. Like, and it's crazy. Like, we love shoes equally. I mean, I guess in your guys' case, you might even love what you do sneakers and technology wise probably more than I do because you guys have made it a career for yourself. But
No doubt.
like that gap really plays into effect. Like Azeem, you were mentioning, being in grade school when the Jordan 12s dropped, and I'm like, I don't even think I was in school yet when those dropped. Like you have a couple,
Yeah.
you got a couple years on me, man. Because I think
Yeah, man.
I
That
jumped in
that
school
5 years
like,
makes a difference.
yo, it really does. It really does. And prime example of that, there's a couple local collectors here. You know, they're on the older end of things. Like they have kids now and what have you. You know, they got a wife and a family, and they're living that life. Also it's the Midwest too, so like that life is pretty much what most people in this area of the United States kind of want to live. But they're a little bit older than I am, so like I'm in like the 2009 class of sneakers. So, I'm going hype, I'm going dumb over like foam posits and
Yeah.
Air Jordan 11s are starting to get that second or third go round, and I'm like, okay, it's coming back. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss this train. And these older collectors are just like, dude, we have all this shit already. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, yeah, we bought foam posits on sale, man, and like, like cactus foams and cough drop foams. They sat, and I'm just like, wait,
Yeah.
what? They say, he's like, yeah, dude, they sat for like $100. In my head, I'm like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the, what the hell? That sat absolutely
Yeah.
wild,
Yep.
absolutely wild. So, let me ask you guys this: like, how how much does technology really play into effect with what you do now, like in your career path or hobby? Like, I don't want to typecast, whatever it is you do, because there's some people out there who feel like, hey, this isn't a hobby, this is my job. Then there's some people who are like, no, this isn't my job. This is, just something I do off on the side. So, in
Yeah.
your field of work, both of you guys' expertise, like, how much is technology attributed to what it is that you do?
Man,
Um.
all of it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So with me, I think it plays one of the hugest roles out of everything because me, I'm getting orders from people all over the world, and God, yeah, I think technology is key. But one thing I do tell people is if I didn't have social media, if I had zero followers and people weren't buying shoes, I'd still do this because this is more than just money to me. It's art, it's my getaway, and that's where it all started. But definitely, and even though I don't have a website, it's still technology. Instagram is like my go to, and that's how I get my orders and how I advertise and network and whatnot. So definitely plays a huge role, and and that's one thing you know I tell people who have businesses and they're always online, like, you always got to use your resources online and network and take advantage of stuff like that and who and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, Instagram is huge. I've always felt like of all the social media platforms, I feel like Instagram gets the most love because it's all pictures. It's very simple to use. Like I explained Instagram to my mom and she got it right away, but like Facebook and Twitter, she just can't wrap her head around. I just think there's something about the nature of being able to just double tap, keep
Yeah.
swiping, double tap,
Yeah.
DM people very easily that she's very very into. And I'm like, look, if my mom likes it, because she's not the most technologically advanced person. She's learning, but she's definitely
Yeah.
not the most like internet
Hmm.
savvy. If that
For
works for her,
sure.
then they must be doing something well over at
100%.
Facebook HQ. Yeah, definitely. What about you, Azim?
I mean, like being an app, like literally all of it, to be honest, man. And even the way that I met the founding team to be able to start working with Aglet. I had met someone on Twitter who owns a game dev shop in Canada, and I was speaking to him about that idea that I had, and he said, "You know what? Let me connect you to somebody I know in London who does angel investing." I was like, "All right, no doubt." And speaking to the dude in London who was like, "This is a little bit early for me, but let me connect you to an investment I made." The CEO lives in Germany. And so somebody I've never met in Canada connected me to someone I've never met in London, who then connected me to someone I've never still met. I've never met anyone on the Aglet team.
That's
Uh,
dope.
Connected me to someone I've never met in Germany that led me to getting a tech job where everything is done through tech for us.
That's
Wow,
crazy.
that's wild. So, and this is going to be like towards both of you. So, I did this like Facebook thing, right? And here locally, like you figure Facebook is really starting to pop. The sneaker game is popping with Facebook and Instagram, and so a lot of people's first photography jobs were of taking shoe photos. Like all the guys who caught that wave on early Instagram all have like hundreds of thousands of followers just because of that.
Yeah.
Just all of that, and I'm like, yo, I'm just collecting, at that point in time. Then, I started hosting events, and that type of jazz. And obviously here we are, I'm speaking to both of you two fantastic guys, but I would just had never guessed that sneakers could really go in this direction. Like the way you guys look at the game, like I look at it, I get up every morning and I'm like, okay, let me hit sneaker news. Let me hit nice kicks a few times out the day just to kind of keep up with what's going on. But you guys kind of look at the sneaker game like the way the people in the Matrix look at the world. Like it's just falling numbers, and you guys are just like, yo, I need to do this so I can do this, and I need to hit this and I can do that,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So, like, so let me ask you guys this real quick, parting. So, because I know people have to get going here pretty soon. And I know, you guys are very busy gentlemen in your guys' craft. 5 years from now, where do you really see the sneaker game going?
Ooh, that's a good question. Josh, you go first on that.
All right. Honestly, man, I feel like it's just going to get bigger because I see, the younger generation coming up, and I see a lot of people who are younger, and they're all about their sneakers just like I was when I was their age, and I feel like they're gonna influence the younger generation coming up because that's kind of what I did. Some people, especially when I was like a junior and there was freshman and sophomore trying to get in the sneaker game, and I feel like it's just going to continue to grow. There's going to be different waves and styles, but I feel like the sneaker game is always going to be up there. And yeah, I just feel like there's going to be, like I said, new waves, and things are obviously going to change, but yeah, I just see it growing and getting more popular.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down on that and say that I don't think that we have any idea yet as to how expensive this stuff is going to get. I think that the same way that people collect vintage cars, the same way that they collect vintage cigars, special wine, I think what we've seen and what we're seeing is that now sneakers are in that category now, and they're just that kind of an investment vehicle, basically. And so I think that because of that, the same way I know nothing about wine, nothing about cigars, nothing about cars, but like it'd be like, oh, the 1972 Porsche Carrera that only came in 3 colors, and it's like it's going to be those kind of stories, and it'll be people. They're going to full on be collecting them like art pieces.
Yeah.
So I think that actually like sneakers are going to get a lot more valuable over time.
For sure.
Most definitely. I think every pair that's purchased is certainly an investment, regardless if people want to look at it that way or not. My father has a really big Kobe Bryant collection, and because of that, that was an investment that he kind of put into himself. And maybe not so much with the idea of having to sell them one day, because my father makes pretty good money, but really just more the idea of like opportunities. Like it was a unknowing investment. You start buying shoes in the early 2000s, you don't really know what the sneaker game is going to come to be. And since then, he's people are asking him for features and shout outs. There's Kobe Bryant specific pages asking if they can do interviews and stuff with them, and just all this kind of craziness. And I'm like, yo, this is absolutely wild. Like, collecting sneakers is not just this one-off nuanced thing that, like, we looked at in the same lights of, like you said, collecting cigars and collecting Pokemon cards. Like, it's very much just as important as those other fields of of interest. I think there's always this idea that collecting shoes should be frowned upon because it's materialistic or it goes on your feet. So like, what's the it's not as big. I said, well, how is that any different than collecting cars? Like, if you think about it, I really only need in my life, maybe 2 cars max, that will last me the rest of my life. As a young person, then of course you reach old age and you won't be able to drive one day. It's like, why do I have all these cars? Well, it's like, well, why do I have all these shoes? Just because this happens to be my interest, and it happens to be, just something that I love.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So with this in mind, we're actually going to call it right there, because I know both you gentlemen have a lot of stuff to do. Azeem, I know you're very busy. Josh, I know you got 1,000 customs you probably should be working on right now. I don't want to pull you guys away for whatever it is that you're doing. But real quick, let everybody know out there where to find you guys. Social media. Just any sort of plugs you want to put in before we skate out of here.
Yeah. So you can find me at Chesler_customs on Instagram. That's where I post all of my art. And if you ever need a pair of shoes, I check all my DMs. So, if anyone has any questions or concerns, just shoot me a DM.
Nice.
On Twitter and IG, Azeem K underscore, so AZEEMK underscore, IG and Twitter. For both of them, also answer my DMs all the time. So anybody who wants to reach out.
Nice, nice. Yeah, definitely. You guys are both very responsive. For as busy as you guys are on social media, I know that, of course, if I didn't have your phone numbers, I could just drop you a DM. And I think, Azim, that's how we actually ended up meeting. Like, I think I just
Yep.
jumped to your DMs, and I'm like, wow, this dude is just boom, boom, boom on it. You know, to be as busy as you were at that point in time in your life, you were very, very responsive and very receptive, too, to just, try new things. But I guess when I look at your guys' resume and just the things you've attributed to the sneaker game, it makes sense on why your interests are kind of just so everywhere. So, yes, with that in mind, friends out there, we're going to call it. This has been F.A.K.E Expo Online, the first of many to come. We're going to keep up the conversational pieces. Hopefully, next time that we do this, I can get the audio and the production squared away a lot better, because I would love to be able to talk to my friends like Azeem and Josh without having to worry about if people can not only hear me, but also them, because you hear enough of me talking, but the stick and the goal is to hear my friends here speak. So, yes, follow us on Twitter, of course, F.A.K.E Expo. Follow us on Instagram as well at fake.expo. I cannot get the F.A.K.E Expo username on Instagram and Facebook. They're just not responsive people. So, yes, until next time, friends, stay easy, stay collecting, and stay doing what you love. Peace.
Take care, everybody.